Living with diabetes means you're constantly thinking about food, right? It's all about keeping those blood sugar levels steady, which is absolutely key for feeling good day to day and avoiding serious health problems later on. We're always told to eat more vegetables. They're packed with vitamins, minerals, fiber, the good stuff. So piling your plate high with veggies seems like a no-brainer for healthy eating. But here's where it gets a little tricky for folks managing diabetes. Not all vegetables play fair when it comes to blood sugar. Believe it or not, some of those seemingly healthy choices can actually work against you, sending your glucose levels on a wild ride. Why does this happen? It often comes down to hidden carbohydrates or a high glycemic index, GI, which means they break down into sugar super fast in your body. Knowing which veggies need a bit more careful handling can make a world of difference. Let's dive into 5 common vegetables that, despite their good reputation, might be making your blood sugar control harder than it needs to be. Number 1. Potatoes, the starch bomb. Ah, potatoes. They're everywhere, aren't they? Comfort food central. Mashed, baked, fried, roasted. It's hard to imagine meals without them sometimes. But for anyone keeping a close eye on blood sugar, potatoes are often flagged as a major hurdle. The main reason? They are incredibly starchy. Starch is just a type of carbohydrate that your body turns into glucose, sugar, for energy. The problem with potatoes, especially the common white ones like russets, is how quickly this happens. They have a really high glycemic index, GI, often scoring well above 70, sometimes even hitting the 80s or 90s depending on how you cook them. A high GI means pure rocket fuel for your blood sugar. Eat potatoes, and that starch converts to sugar fast, flooding your system and potentially causing a sharp, dramatic spike. Fried potatoes. They're even trickier, bringing unhealthy fats to the party along with that rapid sugar rush. You might think a simple baked potato is safe, but nope, still high GI. Now, sweet potatoes often get a better rap because their GI is usually lower, and they offer more vitamin A. That's true, but they're still dense with carbs, so portion size remains crucial. There's even research suggesting that eating a lot of potatoes, especially the fried kind, might increase the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Does this mean potatoes are off limits forever? Not necessarily, but you absolutely need a game plan. If you do eat them, think tiny portions, like maybe taking up just a small corner of your plate. Pairing them with lean protein and healthy fats can help slow down that sugar absorption a bit. Better yet, explore the alternatives. Mashed cauliflower can be surprisingly creamy, roasted radishes get sweet and tender, and turnips offer a similar texture. These swaps give you that comforting vibe without sending your sugar soaring. Number 2. Corn, hidden sugar in a cob. Who doesn't love sweet corn, especially fresh off the cob in the summer? It's sweet, juicy, and pops up in everything from salads and salsas to cozy chowders. It gives you some fiber and vitamins, so it feels like a healthy choice. Here's the twist, though. Corn is kind of a hybrid, acting like both a vegetable and a grain, and it carries a heavier carbohydrate load than many realize, which can definitely complicate blood sugar management. Just half a cup of corn kernels packs around 15 to 21 grams of carbs. That's quite a bit, enough to make your glucose levels jump. Corn's glycemic index usually sits in the moderate to high zone, roughly 52-60. While not as high as a potato, it's still enough to cause a noticeable rise, particularly if you're eating a typical serving size. Think about it. A whole ear of corn, a generous scoop of creamed corn, or corn mixed into a casserole can easily blow past your carb target for a meal, leading straight to high blood sugar afterward. That lovely sweetness, it comes from natural sugars and starch. While enjoying fresh or frozen corn in small amounts might be okay for some, you need to be extra careful with processed corn. High fructose corn syrup is a major ingredient in countless processed foods and drinks and is infamous for messing with metabolism. Corn starch pops up as a thickener, adding carbs sneakily. Even popcorn, though a whole grain, needs portion control. So, the smart move? Treat corn more like you'd treat rice or bread, as a starchy side, not a free-for-all veggie. Measure your portion, aim for maybe half a cup, and factor it into your meal's total carb count. Want to bulk up a dish without the corn? Try swapping in diced bell peppers, zucchini, mushrooms, or green beans. They add color, nutrients, and texture without the same hit to your blood sugar. Number 3. Peas, the starchy green. It's easy to lump green peas in with other leafy or green veggies like broccoli, spinach, or green beans. They look innocent enough, bright green, and often considered a simple side dish. And they do bring some good things to the table. Vitamins like K and C, some B vitamins, manganese, plus a respectable amount of fiber and even some plant protein. But here's the catch. Compared to those other green giants, peas are surprisingly starchy. A single cup of cooked green peas delivers about 20 to 21 grams of carbohydrates. That's a lot more than the 5 to 10 grams you'd get from the same amount of broccoli or spinach. Because of this higher carb content, even what seems like a reasonable serving of peas can significantly bump up your meal's total carbs and trigger a noticeable rise in your blood sugar levels soon after eating. Their glycemic index is generally moderate, hovering around 45-55. However, when you combine that moderate GI with the sheer amount of carbs in a typical serving, the overall glycemic load, which considers both factors, can be enough to throw off careful blood sugar management. This is especially true if you're not keeping a close eye on portion sizes. It's also worth noting the difference between regular green peas, the shelled kind, and things like snow peas or sugar snap peas, where you eat the pod too. Those tend to have fewer carbs. So if you're carefully counting carbs or aiming for really stable glucose readings, it's wise to think of green peas more like you think of potatoes or corn, as a starch source. Stick to smaller portions, maybe just half a cup, and be aware of how they fit with other carbs on your plate. Need a green veggie fix without the carb worry? Load up on green beans, asparagus, zucchini, broccoli, cauliflower, or any leafy greens. They're packed with nutrients and have very little impact on your blood sugar. Number 4. Butternut squash, the sweet saboteur. When the weather cools down, winter squashes like butternut squash become stars. They're loved for that rich, comforting flavor, beautiful orange color, and nutrients, especially vitamin A. Roasting it brings out this amazing natural sweetness, making it perfect for soups, side dishes, or adding to casseroles. But that delicious sweetness is your first clue. It comes from carbohydrates, and enough of them to warrant caution if you have diabetes. A cup of cooked butternut squash rings in at about 16 to 22 grams of carbs. Yes, it has some fiber, around 3 to 4 grams per cup, which is good, but the net amount of carbs you're getting is still pretty substantial, especially when you compare it to truly non-starchy veggies. Butternut squash typically has a moderate glycemic index, somewhere around 51-65. Like peas, the issue isn't just the GI, but the carb density. Eating a standard portion, say a big bowl of creamy butternut squash soup, or a generous helping alongside your chicken, can easily add up and push your blood sugar higher than you want it. Plus, because it gets soft and smooth when cooked, your body can digest it fairly quickly, which also contributes to a faster rise in glucose compared to something really fibrous and low carb. While it definitely offers vitamins and antioxidants, people managing diabetes need to handle butternut squash with awareness. Don't think of it as a free vegetable. Treat it as a carbohydrate. Keep those portions small. Half a cup is a good target. And maybe stick to roasting or steaming, rather than recipes that add extra sugar or syrup. Eating it with some protein and healthy fat can also help slow down the sugar absorption. If you love squash but need a lower carb option, try spaghetti squash. It has far fewer carbs and creates fun noodle-like strands. Zucchini and cauliflower are also great versatile alternatives. Number 5. Beetroot, nature's sugar trap. Beets, or beetroot, get a lot of attention for their health benefits. They have that stunning deep red color, an earthy taste some people love, and they offer nutrients like folate, manganese, and potassium. They're also known for dietary nitrates, which research suggests might be good for blood pressure. You see them in salads, roasted vegetable dishes, and even juices, often promoted as a superfood. However, here's the thing. Beets contain a fair bit of natural sugar compared to many other root vegetables. This gives them a moderate glycemic index, usually around 61-64. While that's not sky high like a white potato, it's definitely high enough to potentially cause an unwanted blood sugar spike, especially if you eat a lot of them or consume them in certain ways. Just 1 cup of cooked sliced beets has about 13 to 17 grams of carbs, and a good chunk of that is natural sugar. Beetroot juice is particularly something to watch out for. Juicing removes the fiber that would normally help slow down sugar absorption, so you get a concentrated hit of sugar that can send your glucose levels soaring very quickly. So while those nitrates might be good for your heart, you can't ignore the impact of beet sugar on your glycemic control. Some evidence suggests cooked beets might even have a slightly higher GI than raw ones. Does this mean you can never eat beets? Not at all. But you need to be mindful that they can be a bit of a sugar trap. Portion size is everything. Think of beets as a colorful accent in a salad, maybe just a few slices, rather than the main event. Pairing them with protein, fiber, and healthy fats will help lessen the blood sugar impact. If you enjoy the flavor or just want that vibrant color, use them sparingly. For lower sugar root veggie options, try radishes, great crunch, celeriac, or turnips. Use these in moderation too. They offer earthy notes with fewer carbs to worry about. Making smarter vegetable choices. So, navigating the world of vegetables when you have diabetes isn't about creating a list of forbidden foods. It's really about being informed and making smart choices for your body. We've looked at potatoes, corn, peas, butternut squash, and beetroot. All vegetables that offer some nutrition, but also pack a bigger punch of carbohydrates or natural sugars, and have that moderate to high glycemic index that can make blood sugar control tricky if you're not careful. The big message here isn't to banish these veggies forever. It's all about awareness, portion control, and paying attention to how you prepare them. Knowing which vegetables act more like starches helps you plan your meals better. You can choose to include them in much smaller amounts, less frequently, or swap them out for lower impact options most of the time. The cornerstone of a really diabetes-friendly eating plan is still loading up on non-starchy, high-fiber vegetables. Think leafy greens galore: spinach, kale, lettuce, cruciferous powerhouses, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and others like crunchy bell peppers, versatile zucchini, elegant asparagus, reliable green beans, and earthy mushrooms. These guys fill you up, deliver tons of nutrients, and have very little effect on your blood sugar. Remember, everyone reacts to foods a bit differently. Checking your own blood sugar before and after meals is the best way to learn how specific foods affect you personally. Managing diabetes is definitely a journey, not a destination. Arming yourself with knowledge like this empowers you to make choices that truly support your health and help you feel your best every day. And don't hesitate to talk with your doctor, a registered dietitian, or a certified diabetes educator. They can give you personalized advice tailored just for you. We really hope this breakdown helps you feel more confident about your vegetable choices. If you found this information helpful, why not share it with friends or family who might also find it useful? Got questions about other veggies? Or maybe you have your own tips for managing these trickier ones? Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences.